Ever feel like picking a research paper topic is like trying to climb a mountain of textbooks?
Oh, yeah, it can definitely be daunting. But just like mountain climbing, the right gear and a good plan can make all the difference.
So where do we even start? It seems like finding a topic that's focused enough but not too narrow. It's tricky. Like, is there a sweet spot?
Definitely. It's like you said, not too broad, not too narrow. Got to find that middle ground.
So what are some, I guess, traps people fall into? What should we watch out for?
I think the biggest one is starting way too broad. I've seen it a million times. A student wants to tackle something huge like the history of the internet. It's interesting for sure, but for a single research paper.
Yeah, where do you even begin with that?
Right. You'd be writing a book, not a paper. You need something more manageable, something more specific.
Okay, so what if you go super specific then? Like, what if I wanted to write about just one specific algorithm used in early search engines?
That's where you might run into trouble finding enough research. A good research paper needs a solid foundation of sources.
It's got to be something people have actually written about, right?
Exactly. If you're the only one who's ever looked at that algorithm, it's going to be hard to build a strong argument.
So how do you figure out if your topic is just right? Any tips for finding that balance?
One thing that can really help is to break down your topic into research questions. So instead of the history of the internet, ask yourself, how did the invention of email change communication in the workplace?
Oh, that's a good point. You're making it much more specific and focused.
Yeah, a focused question like that can really give your research direction and help you avoid getting lost in a sea of information.
It's like choosing a trail on that mountain
Sure.
instead of just wandering aimlessly.
Exactly. And just like checking a trail map, you want to see what's already been explored. I always tell my students, look at the existing research, see what's out there, what's been done, and what gaps still exist.
Oh, so you can see if you're kind of covering the same ground or if there's a new path to forge.
Exactly. You want to add something new to the conversation, make a unique contribution.
Plus, you'll get a better idea of whether your topic is too broad or too narrow.
Right. Reading those existing studies can really help you gauge the scope of your topic.
Like a test drive before you commit to the whole journey.
Perfect analogy. And just like a test drive, you might find that your initial topic needs a little tweaking. You know, be flexible, be open to refining your focus as you go.
Makes sense. So we've got a topic that's clear and focused now. What else is important?
Well, a great topic isn't just manageable, it's got to be relevant too. It needs to connect to what's happening in the world, in your field.
So, like, writing about the impact of AI on education
Mm.
would be more relevant than, say, the history of chalkboards.
You got it. AI in education is a hot topic right now. It's at the forefront of a lot of discussions. The chalkboard thing, while maybe historically interesting.
It's not as urgent or impactful on the conversations happening today.
Right. You want your research to matter, to contribute to the current dialogue.
It's like you want your research to have something to say to the world we live in right now.
Exactly. And that brings us to another key ingredient, interest.
Because a relevant topic that puts everyone to sleep isn't going to do much good.
You're telling me a research paper can be super relevant, but if it's boring, nobody's going to read it.
It's got to grab the reader's attention, spark their curiosity.
And don't forget, you're a reader too. You're going to be spending a lot of time with this topic.
It's got to be something you're actually excited about. Passion is kind of contagious, right?
It really is. When you're genuinely interested in the topic, that comes through in your writing. Readers can tell if you're just going through the motions or if you're genuinely fired up about what you're researching.
So how do we find that spark? How do we make sure our research topic is genuinely captivating?
First things first, think about your audience. Who are you writing for? Experts, beginners, someone in between?
Right, because you need to tailor your approach to your audience's level of knowledge.
Absolutely. Another thing to consider is, why is this topic important right now? How does it connect to what's going on in the world?
So if it's something people are already talking about, that'll make it more engaging.
Exactly. And even with a topic that's been researched a lot, you can still bring something new to the table. Look at it from a fresh angle, explore an aspect that hasn't gotten much attention.
So even with familiar topics, you can add your own unique voice and insights.
That's what makes research exciting. It's about finding that sweet spot where relevance, interest, and your own perspective all come together.
So to sum it all up, a great research topic is clear, relevant, and engaging. It's that Goldilocks balance.
Exactly. When you nail those elements, you're setting yourself up for a successful and rewarding research experience.
It's kind of like putting together a puzzle, right?
Mhm.
All those pieces have to fit just right to create a clear picture.
I like that. A well-chosen topic is like the foundation of your puzzle, It sets the stage for everything that comes after.
So when we're building this puzzle, this research paper, how can we make sure our topic really shines? Make it something people will want to read.
Well, I always tell my students, think about the so what factor. Like, why should anyone care about this research?
So it's not enough to just present the information. You need to show how it connects to the bigger picture.
Exactly. What are the potential implications? How might this research change things? Influence policy, improve practices, even shift how people think about an issue.
It's about bridging the gap between your specific research and the wider world.
Yeah, you want to show why it matters. And don't be afraid to, challenge some assumptions or explore angles that might be a little controversial. Sometimes the most interesting research comes from asking those tough questions, shaking things up a bit.
Oh, I like that. It's about pushing the boundaries a little, starting new conversations.
Exactly. Research shouldn't just confirm what we already know. It should help us discover new things, deepen our understanding.
Now, on a more practical level, are there any resources or tools that can help us find a good topic?
Well, I think one of the most valuable resources is often overlooked. Your own network, talk to professors, mentors, other experts in your field.
Pick their brains a little, see what they're excited about.
Right. They can give you insights into what's hot right now, what research gaps exist, maybe even point you in some new directions.
It's like having a research mentor, but like a whole team of them.
And don't underestimate the power of just brainstorming. Bounce ideas off colleagues, classmates, even friends and family.
You never know where inspiration might strike.
Exactly. And of course, there are tons of online resources, academic databases, research journals, news websites. It's all out there.
It's like having a library at your fingertips, but it can also be a little overwhelming. Any tips for navigating all that information?
One thing that helps is to be really specific with your searches, use precise keywords,
Yeah.
and those advanced search options that most databases have can really narrow things down.
So it's kind of like being a detective. You got to know what clues you're looking for.
And just like a good detective, you need to be discerning. Not all sources are created equal. Make sure you're looking at credible, reliable stuff.
Peer-reviewed journals, reputable organizations, things like that.
Right. And keep in mind, research is a process. It's ongoing. So your topic, it might evolve as you dig deeper, find new information.
You got to be willing to adjust your course along the way.
Exactly. Sometimes those unexpected detours lead to the most interesting discoveries.
Well, this has been incredibly helpful. I feel like I have a much better grasp on how to approach topic selection now.
Glad to hear it. Just remember, it's an iterative process. Explore your options, ask lots of questions, and be ready to refine your focus as you go.
And most importantly, pick something you're passionate about. If you love the topic, the whole research and writing process will be so much more enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely. When you're genuinely invested, it stops being just a task and becomes a journey of discovery.
Well said. So, as we wrap things up here, I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge.
Ooh, I like it. Let's give them something to think about.
What are those research questions that really get you fired up? Those unsolved mysteries, persistent problems, those fascinating things that keep you up at night.
Those are the questions that can lead to really impactful research. It's about finding that sweet spot where your interests and a real need for knowledge, they intersect.
So don't be afraid to dig a little deeper. Explore those questions that really get you going, those ones that keep you curious.
Exactly. Remember, research, it's a journey, and like any good journey, it should be exciting, full of discovery, and have that sense of purpose.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I feel like you've given us so much to think about when we're choosing our research topics.
My pleasure. I love talking about research and, how it can help us understand the world a little bit better.
We covered a lot of ground today, everything from finding that Goldilocks topic to why relevance and interest are so important.
We talked about asking good research questions, checking out what's already been written, and even being open to those unexpected twists and turns that research can take.
It's been a fantastic look at how to choose the right research topic. I feel like we're all ready to go out there and start exploring.
That's the spirit. And remember, the most important thing is your own passion, your own curiosity. Those are the things that will really fuel your research.
So go out there, explore those ideas that get you excited, and let your enthusiasm be your guide. You never know what you might discover.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure.